Let me tell you something. I've been a rich man and I have been a poor man, and I choose rich every fucking time.
The marketplace is heavily driven by psychology. Welcome to Market Makers, everybody. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. So I couldn't help but notice, and I wanted to share this little story with you before we jump into the charts. But Tom Lee recently, a week or so ago, was on CNBC talking about the S&P going to 15,000 by 2030. He has no recession. He has a soft landing priced in. Now, this isn't going to be to pick on Tom Lee, but for the last few years now, he's been perfect. When he goes from bullish to super bullish, you get a turn in the marketplace. Let's rewind the clock to 2021. 2021 Q4. His Bitcoin prediction for 2022 was 250K. He wasn't the only one. There was many with that prediction. His Bitcoin prediction was 250K. In January of 2022, when the S&P finally made its first pullback after in November, Bitcoin topped, the NASDAQ topped, as well as the Russell. S&P made it to January, made its first little pullback. Tom Lee goes on CNBC and says, this is a generational buying opportunity. Bitcoin 250K and S&P generational buying opportunity. What happened during the rest of 2022? Bitcoin fell 75%. The S&P fell 28%. The NASDAQ fell 38%. Now, 2023, being that he's Tom Lee, same exact prediction. Everything's going up by everything. What happens? Everything goes up. Tom Lee is praised as a genius. Here we are in 2024. 2024, Tom Lee talks about 15,000 S&P a week or two ago as the S&P is building its top for this retracement. And now he's doing crypto podcasts where he's talking about 1 million Bitcoin. And what is the market doing? The market, look at your charts, is selling off hardcore. Tom Lee, like most of Wall Street, does not understand cycles. Remember what Wall Street is. It's a business. It's a giant Ponzi scheme with sales reps that go out to get you to give them money to invest for you, and then they charge you fees for the privilege. And then what's the takeaway off of that, right? What's your reward? How many of these guys actually beat the market? As you guys know, watching this channel, 84% of them cannot beat the S&P over a 10-year period. You are better off doing this on your own. So right now, Wall Street, 66% of Wall Street, according to the latest Bloomberg survey, 66% of Wall Street does not think we're going to have a recession. A further 14% of Wall Street says no landing, meaning no recession, conditions stay the same. So you have bullish to very bullish 80% of Wall Street. What do I think the market's doing? Exactly as I've been sharing in these videos with you for the last few months now, tracking to the GFC cycle to the day for the all-time high. How amazing is that? Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, guys. This is a Wednesday update because my sister's coming in town today for her birthday. Gonna do a little Irish birthday, get some dinner and drinks. So you'll have this video this afternoon. It is almost noon here Eastern time. Lee, without further ado, let's start the show. All right, boys and girls, for your market update, we're going to solely focus on a few charts, including Bitcoin and Solana. And you're going to get this chart every single video of the GFC until we are not tracking to it. But this is important to know. So, guys, if you want to trade these markets, take a moment, check out the fantastic exchanges in our video description, SimpleFX, where you can trade everything, cryptos, equities, commodities, Forex, as well as Bitunix. If you don't want to use a VPN and you don't want KYC, check out Bitunix. Both of those are in the video description with our exclusive Market Makers VIP bonus up to $5,000, depending on your deposit. on SimpleFX. So fantastic exchanges. Guys, you want to hang out with us in the Discord, talk to us in the Discord, talk to the staff, hang out with the members, then check it out. That's in the video description as well as Lee's Telegram if you have any questions. Let's go ahead and jump into the chart. So we had the rally. We had the rally in the GFC, 5%. We made our all-time high the exact same day, July 16th, 2007. And this is where we are now. And actually, the candles, even to the point right now, are playing out the same way. We had 3 down days, an up day, and now you have a big down day, right? That's what's happening right now as I record this at noon here on Wednesday for you guys. Then you got a 12.5% retracement where you based, rallied, rate cut September 18th, which I believe will be repeated this year, the exact same day, make a new all-time high, and then you have the market capitulation, right? What does this look like on the NASDAQ? Because you guys have seen this a few times. Let's look at the NASDAQ real quick. Did the NASDAQ behave the same way? Let's look at this. Here's our rally, the 2 strongest weeks of the year, as you guys have known about. So we have the June 27th up to July 19th, 8.33%. What did the NASDAQ do after that? In confluence with the S&P, the NASDAQ fell nearly 13% in just about 4 weeks, okay? Fell 13%, 12.71%. What happened after that? The NASDAQ based. The NASDAQ, just like all the markets, get the rate cut on September 18th, and then you accelerate to an all-time high from the low here of the correction up to your all-time high, a 24% gain, 54 bars, 77 days. From the actual day of the rate cut, September 18th, up to that new all-time high, a nearly 13% gain, 32 bars, 44 days. We're going to play this out, I believe, the exact same way. These macro movements, knowledge is power. You can profit from this. If you are an individual who does not like shorting the markets, views it as too risky, let the markets sell off and correct, because that next impulsive move is coming after that. In my opinion, none of this is financial advice. This is all my view on the marketplace. Okay, so let's see how this is playing out in real time. Look at the S&P, same exact all-time high, July 16th. This little squiggly line right here would be your 50-day moving average. You're at 5507 here on the futures. This is the ES1 chart, okay? Your 50-day moving average is at 5466. So this looks highly likely you're going to back test the 50, and maybe that's where you get a bounce from the 50. That fractal that you do not want to break is 5502. You break 5502, you're coming to the 50, and then you have to start looking at these targets beneath if you break below the 50. 5443, 5367. You will get a bounce at some juncture. However, your money flow is starting to turn bearish. Your momentum is definitely turning bearish, and you're selling off pretty hard. You're down $92, 1.64% at the time of this recording. Let's look at the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is not faring well, my friends. The NASDAQ broke below the 50, okay? Broke below the 50. So let's look at where the NASDAQ may be headed here. Pull our fib here, go up to our all-time high. The NASDAQ right now is at the 1272 at 19,384. It's trying to hold this, again, breaking below the 50. The next level down is 18,948, okay? Several hundred points lower. So you may try to hold this region and bounce back up. Because we already broke below the 50, you know, algos are going to be looking at the 200. The 200 is down here, close to the 2618 at 17,691. So what did the NASDAQ do as far as a correction last year, our July high correction in 2023? Let's go ahead and measure this as well. Here it is. So we can see what we can get here potentially in this correction, which took 99 days to play out, right? Not 99 days. So this was a almost 12% correction, which makes sense. The S&P is averaging a 10.5% correction. The NASDAQ corrects further than the S&P and pumps further. So let's go down. So the 1618 is only a 10% correction. To come down to that 2618, is a 12% correction. So you could very well, or the 2 fib, I should say, is a 12% correction, and that's at 18,468. Remember, the 200 is down here. So we'll see if you can hold here, if you can bounce, if you can rebound, make another attempt to rally back up before your next wave down. Because remember, this is going to move in waves as it always does. You just look at how we corrected last year. Okay. You get a big sell off, you get rallies. What was this sell off initially last year from that high to that low? That was 3.60%. Where are we right now? We got to be close to that, if not, we're definitely greater than 3.5%. Let's look at this right here. You're at 7.69%. So this thing is retracing fast. So you had an elongated correction in the S&P and the NASDAQ last year, 90 days in the S&P, 99 days in the NASDAQ. You know where you didn't have an elongated correction, where that correction was fast? Yes, the GFC cycle. You tired of me talking about it yet? You need to be aware of this. This corrected extremely quickly and extremely violently. This corrected 12.25% on the S&P and 23 bars, 31 days. So basically in the course of a month, you dropped 12%. And that's kind of the path as of right now, right? We haven't had the big bounce up yet. You're just getting the bleeding, right? But that's the path that you are on in these markets. Look at the bloodbath right now, just knifing through the 50. You could be correcting quickly this time, just like the GFC. Would that shock anybody? Because it wouldn't shock me. Let's look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin's holding up pretty well. Bitcoin is holding up here. It's above the 618 from its all-time high to that corrective move down here. It's above the 66K level. Really would like to see, I like Bitcoin to get as high as possible because it can be so scammy. It's a controlled asset, very small market cap. So when you look at this, I look at where price struggled to close, right? Price struggled to close above that 71.5 level. There's only one close above that 71.5 level here on the 3-day chart. So price really struggled up here. Would love to see it go up another 5K. Could it do it? Maybe not, because as you guys know, we've been talking about the fib that I thought would be hit, which was the 68K from our midpoint to that corrective low, which is 68K, 68.62. And that's what you're stuck between, the 618 at 64, the 786 at 68 on a 3-day chart. You're not making any shapes yet, right? You're not really putting in a pattern because it's a 3-day chart. What about the 1-hour chart? The 1-hour chart, we talked about this range on the last video update. You have this range here on the 1-hour chart between 65 and 68, okay? So you sold off some, you bounced off this 65 region, you're trying to pull back up. I want to see some type of pattern with the markets bleeding like this. This is exactly the type of setup that I want to see, because I want to see Bitcoin do something, make a W, make a double top, pull up, come back up, retest the 68 possibly. Give me a trade entry, because I know Bitcoin is going to move down with the markets. I believe it will anyways, even if it does a faux pump, a faux rally. You're not going to have a $50 trillion marketplace, the S&P, correct 10.5%, and Bitcoin's going to go to 75, 85. That's not happening. This is a speculative asset. It is a beta asset, and it's going to sell off. The question is, do we get any type of faux rally beforehand to do that? And those are the ranges I want to watch, guys. I'd love to see a retest of the 68. And if it does any type of rally above that to the 71, 70K level, 72K level, that's an awesome trading opportunity, in my opinion, with confluence of the markets moving. Let's look at Solana, because Solana, if we look at this on an 8-hour chart, remember, we can pull in more candles here, but I want to focus on these moves, because just like Bitcoin, right, you have your high, your lower high, and this is still a lower high. It's not an equidistant high yet, but we can look at this. So you're struggling, as we talked about, you're struggling in this range of a bunch of candles over here on Solana, and you're struggling right here, right now. Now, Bitcoin's still holding up as the markets are bleeding off, but we want to look at this and this rebound here and see if we have any patterns here, any projections or anything we can do with fibs. When I'm looking at my fibs on Solana, I'm on the 8-hour time frame, guys. I'm going to this Wednesday the 17th July candle, and I'm going to pull it down to this leg here. You see this impulsive move, all the buying candles that took you up. Look at your 1618. You got above the 1618 a little bit, Look exactly where this candle wicked, the 1618. The high was 181,970. Look at the 1618, 181.99. Okay. So this area on Solana, let's see what Bitcoin does. But if you're interested in altcoins, I'm watching Solana, as we've been talking about for multiple videos now, looking in this 180 region. You got a rejection here at the 181. You're at 177. Let's see if we get a retest. We're on the 8-hour. And what I'm going to do is take it down to the 4, take it down to the 1, and start trying to find some smaller patterns to get in on a trade. If this looks like it's going to roll over with Bitcoin on the 4-hour, momentum's trying to pick back up. Look like you're putting in a little bit of a W here. So again, this could be part, if you see Bitcoin starting to do its faux rally, its false break to the upside, watch and see if Solana can do something the same, which is why it's so important to understand where your resistance is and where your supports are. Guys, I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend. I'll be back on Monday for our regular video. Leave me your comments, suggestions, questions. I answer them as always. Hope to see everybody in the Discord. Take care, everybody.